And we welcome from Frontera San Diego, the great and powerful Miguel and Vanessa. How are y'all doing tonight?
Yeah, doing great, man. Thank you so much for having us.
Heck yeah. Vanessa, how are you?
Good. Ready for this. Ready to kind of give an update on what's been going on in Frontera.
I mean, it's been a long year. In terms of longevity for the season, a lot of people didn't think that you guys would be rocking and doing what you guys are doing here mid-November, let alone mid-November, potentially end of December. The way that things are going for San Diego FC. But for those who are uninitiated, could you go ahead and just introduce yourselves a little bit and just kind of what your role is within the supporters union of Frontera San Diego?
Yeah, definitely. I think I've met most people out there. My name is Miguel Barajas. I am the president for Frontera San Diego since January of 2025 for this year. I'm also a member of the Chavos Frontera Ultras. I'm a 2-year term for being a part of the board of representatives, and yeah, I'm just excited to be here. It's been a pretty crazy year, so I'm excited to talk to people.
I'm Vanessa Bejarano. I am the vice president of Frontera San Diego. I am also a member of Riptides. And this, again, I've been the vice president since January 2025. And this is my first year on a 3-year term for being a board member.
Love it. I mean, you guys came prepared. We have this is a seminar, a webinar, so people with a specific link can actually ask a question, and if they want to, we can put them on here with video and ask questions. We have some questions planned through this. So this is going to be very informative in terms of what San Diego supporter culture is for San Diego FC with Frontera San Diego specifically. So I'll kind of leave it up to you guys right now. I have the presentation. You let me know when to click. You let me know when to do it, when to jump, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, definitely. So, again, this is a 2025 State of the Union. As per our bylaws, we're supposed to have one of these meetings once a year. I think this is going to be one of the ways we're going to reach out to people in the future. For in the future, we're definitely going to be a little bit more prepared. We're going to give out 30-day advance notice, like our bylaws say, but since it's been so busy, I mean, the team's doing so great and we're so busy in the background with everything going on with the club. We're just kind of like making sure that we get things done in a timely manner before the voting. So this just, if you can click to the next slide, please. Just a little background on the way the union is organized. We have 3 main segments of the union. We have the board of representatives. We have the executive officers, which is the president, secretary, and all that. And then we also have the supporter group council. And I'm going to go through that, through each one of these in the next few slides. So if you could click on the next slide, please. All right. So the board of representatives is a 15-member board. Everybody's part of the union. Everybody's an active member of the union. We have 3 main terms that we serve. We have 5 1-year terms, 5 2-year terms, and 5 3-year terms. As Vanessa explained, she's part of the 3-year team. I'm part of the 2-year team. And then we're going to have elections coming up in the next year, actually coming up in December for the remaining 5 1-year terms that are going to be vacating their positions and, kind of going back to being supporters again. The main role for the board representatives is that, they're the bridge. They're responsible for maintaining the ethical and strategic running of the union. And also their main focus is making sure that the union works for all members, not just specifically their supporter group or other entities, but they're there to make tough choices. And they're there to make sure that we have an equal say across the board for all members of Frontera San Diego. Next slide, please. And for the executive officers, right? So we got the president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. Like I said, myself, president, Vanessa, vice president, secretary right now is Sean Duffy, our treasurer is Sean Stone. Those members have specific day-to-day tasks within the leadership, and they just kind of make sure that they keep leadership oversight over the supporters union. The chair and the vice chair, those are 2 other positions that we have. They facilitate our board meetings and also they preside over the decision-making body of the union. So they're the ones that kind of keep us on track, making sure that we're meeting the standards that we're going for, and then and that we're meeting all the objectives that we set out for the previous month or for the month going forward. And then the last one, the supporter group council. This is actually the permanent standing committee, which is representatives from all recognized supporter groups within the union. They act primarily as a steering committee for the union, and they make recommendations to us of what they want us to bring up to the club. And also on top of that too, they make decisions for what they want the supporter section to be, you know, whether it's in the tailgate lot or in the stadium, but they're the ones that provide the input from their respective SGs to the board for us to take over to the club or for us to vote on internally. Next slide. So to start off a little bit for our financials for the 2025 season, currently we're finishing up our report for the 2025 year. We're ready to do our taxes, and right now we're just maintaining the books, making sure that we have it ready, and we're supposed to be reporting those earlier, like sometime like in October. But again, with everything being so crazy with the season, we're all been so busy, so we're going to go ahead and release those at the end of the 2025 season once kind of everything settles down, you know, and once San Diego wins the championship, you know, that those financials will be ready for everybody. And just to kind of give an idea of where everybody, what we've been doing with the funds that we raised from membership, merchandise, and other revenue streams. We've been paying a lot for TIFO materials, you know, when it comes to the paint, to the sheets of cloth that we use, and especially the fireproofing. By far the most expensive thing in this whole process is the fireproofing when it comes to TIFOs. When it comes to the state of California, you know, San Diego, the Snapdragon Stadium is technically on state of California land. So we have to kind of follow the procedures on you know, the fireproofing mechanisms that they require from us, from the chief. Did we lose the
Oh no, we have no. I just wanted to get your no.
Oh, sorry about that. No, if you go back to the last slide, please.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. And then also too, we've been able to buy banners, flags, and drums, and repair drums for the members of the union. And then we've been buying merchandise so we can sell. You know, kind of that's one of our revenue streams as well. You know, we just had our first line of merchandise that came out probably about 2 months ago, so that's been kind of a success. And then we've been able to actually subsidize some transportation for away games when it comes to buses for supporter groups. I know we did that for San Jose. I think we partially did that for a few of the LA games. And also too, we facilitate with drum transportation for people that have to take the drums to the flights. Because I don't know if you guys know, taking a drum, you know, as not baggage, it's pretty expensive. It costs me about somewhere between $50 to $60 depending on what airline you go through.
I really didn't think about that actually.
Yeah.
Just charter it over there.
Yeah. So, but you know, we make sure we kind of subsidize those costs for our members as much as we can. Next slide, please. And Vanessa's going to talk about these.
All right. So we've definitely had some things that we noticed from this year that we're going to take into our positive corner. When we started Frontera or the union, you know, we started with the 7 groups and it was maybe like 300-400 people in total. We've actually grown that to 3,400 people within Frontera. So that for us is a big takeaway that people are really wanting to be part of this. You know, I think we can see it from the first game till yesterday's game, the impact that having the ESGs kind of show and the chants and do that has done for Frontera. We've developed a great working relationship with front office, with SDFC. Again, going from talking to 7 different groups to really building under one union and meshing into that. It's taken some time, but we've made the progress. So we have that. Speaking to what Miguel said about things like the TIFOs, we want to say that, you know, having the 5 TIFOs that we've done this year, and 2 of them being those 3 panel ones, it took a lot of time, a lot of commitment, and a lot of, you know, work from SGs and the community to come out and lend us their space, help trace and paint. So we're very proud of that. Again, to the away days that we did in LA, taking over 600 people to those games, making sure we coordinated all of that as flawless as possible. Everybody got there and back safely. We had an amazing time. And also, I think one of the biggest things is taking the communication between the SGs and the board and really kind of honing it and making our own and having everybody follow or practice what we preach, which is, the union is the face to FO, and we listen to the SGs. Yes, we're the middleman, but we want to make sure that our supporter groups and our culture is established. Next slide. Things that we've realized during this process. We realize that sometimes we're going to disagree with the priorities that maybe the team have versus what we have. So we realize that we really are going to prioritize, again, because we're independent, the needs of the unions, the needs of our SGs, making sure that their voices are heard, even if it differs from what front office is kind of saying. We realize that the board responsibilities for each individual member are more than, what we thought. Some of us thought going into this, it was just a meeting and conversation, but there is a lot more work behind the scenes. And currently our executive board, especially, people like Steve and Dina, who have really stepped up with organizing away days and even game day. I will say probably one of the biggest headaches that we have is called our exempted items list, and making sure that we coordinated between all of the supporter groups, make sure all their flags, their drums, anything that they're taking in, because Snapdragon really goes through a very thorough list of everything that we take in. So there's like a photograph. Yeah, so they stay on top of that and make sure that everybody gets in all their trapos and flags and drums. Another thing that we've noticed is our technology, the issues with chant that we've had in the past, working through them, working with the developer, finding other means of communication, upping our communication via our Instagram and our emails. And at the end of the day, making 3,400 people happy is it's a tough task. But we hope that we're doing a good job at it and making sure that everybody is coming together to kind of put on what we do in the stadium.
It's important work, and it has grown for sure. And I like that you guys have a slide dedicated to that, and then new input, new output, because nobody can, again, like I said, nobody thought that we were going to be here in November, this deep in November, even deeper in November, especially not Chiva.
No.
Oh, that's a lie. That's a lie.
I mean, it's just also too, like, credit to everybody else, man. It's not easy to start a union in year one and kind of grow the way we have, especially given the club success. When everybody, when the club succeeds, right? Obviously, everybody wants to be part of it, and we've been trying to find ways to manage that as best as we can, and I think we've been doing a decent job at it.
Heck yeah. All right.
I think there's one more slide.
Boom.
And our goals for next year, we're going to finish off with this one, then we'll start going to the questions. But the elections for board of representatives are going to be at the end of December. The nomination packages, we're actually going to be releasing the form next week, so we can have some people that want to be part of the board of representatives. And then once once those elections happen, the first executive board, the first board meeting is going to be in January, and then from there they're going to choose the executive boards. That means for the new president, vice president, secretary, whoever decides to run, they'll be chosen on those dates as well. So the executive board is chosen by the board of representatives. That's kind of part of the whole process that we have in our bylaws. But also another goal for 2026 is we have to find new revenue streams. That way we don't have to depend too much on the fees for members. We want to make sure our merchandise is kind of up in up in par. We get new stuff coming in. We finally got the store working with the first round of merch that we did. But we have to kind of streamline that a little bit better. We have to make sure that that it's manageable for whoever's going to be taking that task. Because right now we do not have any kind of shipping method, but that's something we could probably look for in the future. But that's one of the things we want to work on. Potential collaborations, maybe some sponsorships here and there. But those are things that those are future things that we're looking at. But immediate goals for 26 is to start identifying those new revenue streams. Coming up in our first session for January, also we're going to be voting on the status of a new supporter group. They've been going through the whole probation process. I'm sure you guys have probably seen them on chat. So we're going to be voting on their status, make sure to see if they met all the requirements they have to be able to be a recognized supporter group. So that's one of the first things we're going to be taking care of in January. Improving our current IT plan, as Vanessa spoke to. We need to find new ways to be able to communicate with people. Right now our preferred methods are Instagram and chant, and then with some emails here and there. But we want to make sure we want to find a good way to be able to reach people on a more immediate level. So that's one of the things we're going to start looking at. One of the big things that we've kind of had this year is we're working on preventing supporter ticket price gouging. That's been a big issue that we've had. Even now when we're just looking out for tickets for Minnesota, it was actually just through.
Yeah, Chiva was actually telling me. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Miguel, but Chiva, you saw some earlier today. ¿Cuánto estaban los supporter section?
I think 150.
Jeez.
I think I saw the same one. Yeah. So we have some challenges with that right now. So it's only, and we're working with the club on that, and they've been really actually very active on helping us out with that. But we're trying to find ways to be able to mitigate that. But right now, the big thing that we tell people is, if you buy a ticket, in the supporter section, that's way more than, or you see something, just report it to us, and we'll try to find ways to be able to see if we can identify the person that has those tickets for sale. And we will, we do have discipline, stuff for that.
I also think it's important to mention that with the rates that we negotiated with the club prior to Frontera being established, we want to make sure that people understand that, please, don't sell your ticket more than what you buy it for. The low price is a low price, so that we can have everyday members who want to bring their passion to the section be able to afford it. So we don't want people price gouging. We don't want people buying them, selling them, for more than what they should be. So, sell it at cost, or if it's late in the game, and sell it below cost, but no more than at cost is what we're asking.
Yeah. No, I like that.
That's only fair.
That's a fair thing. 100%.
That's what we hope for.
Yeah, and it's part of our code of conduct too. So everybody who joins from SanDiego, they agree to that. And it's kind of what we expect out of our members, right? Another thing we're also working on is making sure that we improve the supporter section as a whole, right? Like I said, we've never done this before. All this is very new to us, especially with the supporter section now. With the amount of interest that we have, the more people that we're seeing in the section, even people that don't have supporter section tickets have been getting in. So that's a lot of things that we're actually working on, not just within ourselves, but also with the club. But it's important for us to work with the SGs to find a nice middle ground, so all members of the union can prosper from that, right? And then, but big thing coming up for this year too is we're going to be negotiating the 2027 supporter season ticket price point. This is going to be for 27, hopefully for beyond. I think for a lot of people that got in early in 2024, I believe they had the $18, right? $18 per ticket for the first 2 years. So we're going to try to see if we can work on maintaining that, or even work on getting something cheaper so everybody in the union has the same price point. But that's something we're working on, and it's going to be in those conversations for next year. And lastly, as Vanessa mentioned, we need more involvement from our current our board members, myself included, or whoever is in that board. Like I said, we realize it's just a lot of work, and over the last few years, it's been maybe about 4 or 5 people that have been doing mostly the heavy lifting. But I think that's one of the things we have to be better. We have to be better organized in that board, to make sure that we're working for everybody, not just not just there to provide a vote once a month, right? But that's just that's just one of the things that we just learned from, and we're going to continue to improve.
No, I love all that, and the fact that and knowing you, Miguel, for as long as I've known you, Vanessa, not that long, but I see the work that you've been able to put in such a short amount of time. You're just like Chris McVeigh. You're just everywhere on the pitch. Like I see Vanessa just a tailgate, and she's working and helping out with the tifo. Then boom, then she's on the field, and then she's it's insane with the amount of people, amount of manpower and just humanity power that it takes to put such a huge thing together. But not everybody puts in their grain of salt or the sand, and that's fine. That's okay, and that's for me just a personal thing that I would like to see as a San Diegan is more San Diegans getting involved, because then when something happens that you don't like, well, guess what? You could have had a voice in this, and that's by joining the union. That's by really just kind of getting involved in this and being vocal about it. I do see that we have about 22 people in the webinar part of it, so I do see some questions coming in from people who have questions. Chiva, what's up?
Yeah, no, one thing I just want to say, a big shout out to you all and anyone in leadership. Let's not forget anyone that's like listening to this and saying, wow, that's a lot of like work they're doing. These people are volunteering for this, everyone. Like nobody's getting paid to do this. And shout out to all of you for taking on leadership positions for something that you're passionate about. Tony and I know a little bit about that with what we have going on with SanDiego.Futbol, right? So big shout out to you all, because we know the commitment it takes to, put on that effort and take on all that and try to make 3,400 people happy is going to be impossible. So I hope you both are proud of what Frontera San Diego has done this season, because you have all just shown out every single home game. We see it from the Toyota Terrace. We're like, wow, they're loud today. Like they're bringing it. There's days that we're like, oh, there was 3 away matches. They haven't had a game at Snapdragon. They're a little offbeat, but that's just a little like on the musician side of things, right? But at the end of the day, it's always loud and you bring the whole stadium together. So I hope you both are proud of what the work that you guys have been doing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, we're definitely proud of. I'm more proud of actually everybody else that's been helping out from the board side, and then from the SG Council side as well. Just like I said, it took a lot in such a short time to be able to bring this together. And the first few months were a little crazy, but then I think once the midseason point happened, and it helps that the team wins too, right? So everybody's kind of happy with it too. If we had a team that wasn't doing so great, maybe it would have been a little different, but no, it's just I think everybody's been doing a great job and putting in a lot of solid effort.
Yeah, and I just want to say, like, not just the leadership of the board and the leadership of each individual SG, but just every general member that comes out every single game and gives it their heart. Like, yeah, okay, we have the leadership coordinating, but if it wasn't for each individual person coming out all these games, we wouldn't have the vibe and the presence that we have out there.
And this is the part that people are gonna maybe not necessarily tune in or pay as much attention to, but then they're the same ones that are like, well, why are we making these decisions, or why is this happening? Well, because these are the boring things that you have to do. And this goes out to all my pals in there that a veces es raza, a veces es no, pero quieren desmadre, but you have to do it in an organized way. You have to have a structure for it, and this is the structure. And like it or not, that's just kind of how it goes. And if you want to go ahead and have and ride the lightning, hey, maybe La Masacre is better off for you. But Chiva, your brother's in it, and there's things that
it's nowhere near as organized as this. I've known my brother my whole life. He's been part of the Masacre for probably like 10 plus years or 15 years, and I've never even heard the words come out of his mouth like, oh yeah, there's a meeting this day, or there's a board meeting, or anything like that. So year one for Frontera San Diego, way ahead of other supporters groups in Mexico.
But this is what's needed to make those awesome things happen. I hear coworkers now just coming into the office. I'm like, oh, I was at the game and this and this and this. Tony, were you at the game? I'm like, I'm at every game. But like, yeah, like them showing the stories of the great time that they've had, and that's really what's the fun aspect of soccer. Sometimes I'm watching the game too, but I'm just like looking at you guys. It's like, that's cool. Like, just like the human effort, much like this is a weird connection, much like the 2008 Beijing Olympic opening of like, wow, humans are great. Like the Frontera San Diego, just everybody in unison. Now the stadium getting in on it, booing Velde, being very smart about it. Like, and it's not to say that it's not without its growth, but that's what's needed. This fundamental independent work that has to happen. And you know this. I'm very big on the independent thing about the union. Independence is the one thing that this group cannot lose, and it's the one thing that every single group,
Mhm.
7 v 8, need to be on par with. This is your own group. You are your own voice. Frontera es lo suyo, and yeah, you can play nice with the club because of course it's gonna work out like this. They get some pretty pictures. They get some cool backgrounds for the new song. Did you guys like the song, by the way, Chio? I haven't talked to you about this. Did you guys like the song by Rossi Rock?
I like it. Yeah.
It's
I heard it
lively.
playing in the stadium. It's pretty good. Okay, I was like, okay, like all right, like hearing players' names on a song. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
All right. But you guys ready to dive into some questions? I see some questions in here on the chat. We do also have some questions that were submitted previously. And so this is kind of, whoever wants to take it, and we'll go from there. So what's the official current policy regarding the seating/standing in the designated area, supporter section? Specifically clarifying between the first come, first serve sort of situation and then the all ticket holders in recent attempts by affiliated groups. Sometimes they're trying to come in, and now they're trying to enforce that same sort of designated standing area with priority access. What's that been like? Where are we at with that in the union?
Yeah. So when we first started all this stuff, a big thing that we've been doing is a lot of supporter groups have been practicing their chants, making sure that they've been going to chant practices every week, making sure that they have their flags ready, and the organization that they've been kind of putting in for to get it ready for game days. It's been pretty much since day one, right? And I think we kind of want to start giving priority to the support groups that kind of been, trying to make the atmosphere and create the atmosphere that you kind of see now, right? And the way that the seating chart kind of goes, whenever everybody comes out with it, it's primarily just to make sure that that atmosphere is kind of spread out throughout the supporter section, because we have been seeing a lot of new people come in that are not necessarily part of the union. Like I said, they might buy that ticket on that third party site, and they're like, hey, I'm here, and they're standing, right? And we want to make sure that those people aren't, they aren't the face of what we're trying to do, right? We want to make sure that everybody out there is giving their heart out to, like all 90 minutes and 100%. And by creating this the seating chart, it kind of just allows us to be able to just to have people positioned in places where that infectiousness can just kind of spread. And it does seem, when you see the chart, it seems like, oh yeah, like this one group is taking this entire section, but in reality, that section is really not that big. There's a lot of spaces everywhere where people can kind of fill in. I think it's a little bit different on game day, especially in the last few weeks that we've been seeing. They have to kind of, I heard they have to stop, police have to stop letting people in the supporter section because it started getting overcrowded. So we're just trying to make sure that the people that have been putting in the work are in, they're kind of, getting the reward of what they've been putting in. I don't know, Vanessa, you have any more to say?
Yeah, well, I just we've noticed, we've gotten the comments, this question isn't new for us. It's been a question that we've gotten in our email multiple times. And I mean, Miguel said that these groups really want to make sure that they spread the infectious like the chanting, and make sure they get people involved. But I know there was a question somewhere that we had earlier that asked us what it's going to look like going forward. And right now, we're going to partner with the team and look at how, one, we can make it so that we're not squished like sardines in the section. So we make it safer, because yes, the fire marshal did put a stop to people coming into the section, I think 15 or 20 minutes before the half, because there was just nowhere to move. And we love that everybody wants to come into the section and be a part of it, but we have to keep it safe. We have to make sure the fire marshal is not going to get upset with us because we're crammed in there. So we're definitely going to be taking, the off season to work with the team on developing a strategy on how we work with the seating charts and the maps to make sure that people who are not part of a recognized supporter group still feel included within the section, and two, that we don't have that overcrowding going on.
Yeah, because it has to be safe. At the end of the day, it has to be safe. That's the last thing you need. Let the ambulance and then EMTs stick to the San Diego State Sun games, and not at San Diego FC, or just not in general. Chiba?
Yeah, no, I see another question, just the financial side of things. Miguel, you were talking about it a little bit earlier, but this question that was submitted, how does merchandise work for each supporter group? Are they supposed to have like a store set up on the Frontera side? Are bank accounts independent for each supporter group, or is everything commingled? Or do supporter groups have separate bank accounts?
Yeah. So for that question right there, we do encourage each supporter group to have their own bank account, their own 501c status, so they can maintain their own merchandise. Right. Frontera, we have our own 501c status that we have, and that's what we use to manage our membership fees, any kind of revenue that we have from like either ticket sales or like bus sales or merchandise sales. So that's actually for us. I think the first part we're talking about, like the merchandise that was supposed to be a store, that was an idea that we had early on. And I think that was one of those that was actually one of those items that was we bit off more than we could chew with that one. So at the end of the day, we kind of decided not to go through with that. And it actually kind of worked out because a lot of the merchandise for each specific SG is, very, very personal, to them. Right. And they want to make sure that whoever is wearing their merchandise represents their SG the way they kind of feel necessary for that. So that's kind of one of the main reasons why we haven't opened up those individual SG stores in the within the chant area. But I think maybe in the future we might introduce something where it's like, hey, if you're an SG and you want to make extra revenue for your group, we could put your merchandise in the store, and just make sure you give us your tax identification number, whatever it is you guys use for your EIN. And yeah, just those are the things we're just kind of working through. But yeah, making sure that the money, that's also one of the hardest parts, to make sure that everything's kind of controlled properly, because we want to make sure that we're doing anything by, according to law and, regulations. So yeah, that's kind of the way of how that works.
Yeah. Can't get caught up. There's an episode of Batman where the Joker is like, nah, I'll go up against Batman any day, but the IRS, I have to pay them, and just a bag full of money. The questions are still coming in. Thank you guys for joining here for the Frontera San Diego State of the Union here on Two Balls and a Mic, SanDiego.Futbol. You spoke about personal, right? And just a little bit more. Yeah, we'll talk financials. There's some very important questions too, but to have fun, to liven the mood up in the section for Snapdragon Stadium. The question is, can we have some player specific chants for next season? It would make us stand out a lot more. We could take some inspiration from some of the Premier League player chants as well. Thoughts on that? A little bit more specific. The songs are getting known. There's new songs that were worked on through the season. You can hear them. You can tell which songs are the section's favorites, because those are the loudest, and that's where most hand motions happen, or everybody's in unison. But for player specific chants, where are we at with that?
I'll take it. We have people who have made suggestions via like Instagram. They'll reach out, or emails, and they'll give that in. And then it's really up to, again, we have committees, and we have the Banda committee, which is led by Adrian from Chavos and Ali from Dago Boys. They have done the amazing job of putting everything together. And people, if you want to take your ideas to them, and they figure out how to incorporate it, or you work together on maybe building something, I know they're always open to listening. And yeah, I mean, it'll take some time to make sure that they get incorporated. They practice the melodies, making sure that the drum line comes together. But Adrian and Ollie have said time and time before that just reach out to them.
Yeah. And just kind of to add to that as well, a lot of the stuff, a lot of the songs they kind of come in organically from chant practice, like sometimes the drum practice. I think that's one of those big topics that's always out there, right? We always encourage people to go out to chant practice and make sure that they're out there to learn any new songs that come up, to bring up any new ideas. And when it comes to player-specific chants too, I think a lot of that's definitely just organic, right? If it's something that's super major, we don't want to come up with a chant for every single player, right? It's got to be something that's just like, hey, like no doubt, no, like no shit. This is something we could, we could probably integrate for the future. So yeah, it's just like I said, it's just first things first. Show up to practice, bring in your ideas, and then people will try it out, and if it catches on, it catches on.
Yeah, I see another question on here regarding parking. As we all know, parking is very expensive at Snapdragon. Will the union continue negotiations with SanDiego FC regarding parking costs? Most of the parking lots are dirt. Also, the attendants are not there at the end of the games. It leads to congestion and long delays. Either the cost of parking needs to be lowered or the services need to be improved.
Yeah, I mean, these are definitely concerns that will taking back to the team again, learning season for everybody. I'm sure for the parking attendants too. But now that we know what we're looking at, what we're needing, and yeah, we're always here to negotiate with the team when it comes to anything involving pricing and making it something that our people can afford.
Yeah, and one of the big things about the parking situation in Snapdragon is I think I don't know if everybody knows the plan for that site. The 5-10 year plan that's coming up for that site, but those dirt lots there, they're not going to be there like in the next like 10 years, right? Those are going to be stores. They might be like some student housing. There might be some classrooms, but all that land right there, San Diego State has plans for it, and pretty much the only parking lot that's going to be available is going to be that grass lot, right? Everything else is going to be developed by San Diego State for one way, shape, or form. So that's another thing we're kind of struggling with, is making sure that this tailgate environment that we're building stays alive way after they have to close the purple lot. And the reason why we're actually in the purple lot right now is because that lot right there. That's the last planned lot to be developed. So we have to figure out a way for 10 years down the line to where we're going to move that tailgate stuff to.
I mean, you guys have made it work. Like, how's that been? Like, obviously, still being able to make it happen. Like, it just kind of now a staple of tailgating. You can't tailgate over in Petco Park, so this is literally the only place to be able to do that. How fun have those been?
Oh, it's been great to, like, and I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. Osito, one of our board of representatives members, this was his brainchild from the beginning, right? And a lot of the Barra 18 folks that come from that Charger, tailgate, that Bull Pride stuff. And the way it's kind of grown now to where it's become such a staple of MLS, it's just, it's been amazing to see, man. Just those videos, those shots from above, all those flags coming up, and all those tents, all that free food. I mean, like, I scroll through Instagram and TikTok a lot of times, and you see a lot of influencers. The first thing they talk about is all the amazing vibes that are happening in that purple lot, and it's been great to see, to be honest.
Yeah, just echoing like what Miguel said. I mean, walking through it, it went from SGs and members of SGs kind of staying underneath their own tent because we really didn't know the other groups, to you see everybody commingling, chasing each other down, trying to give somebody to take a shot. And I mean, it's the excitement, the party, the different groups bringing in bandas to play music. Like, it's just people bring the energy starting from that tailgate into the stadium.
And I definitely encourage like for the non-affiliates, right? If there's any non-affiliate members out there that want, I mean, that's a great place to get to know people, right? You may not fall into a group, or you may not want to join a group, but at the same time, that's a good place to be able to get to know some people, get to know the vibes that are kind of going into the stadium from the get-go.
That kind of falls in that kind of falls in perfectly with Philippe's question. If one joins the union, what are the obligations? Do we have to attend the union meetings, the tailgates, or can they just join as a silent member to contribute and vote?
You go with that, Vanessa?
Yeah, I mean, joining just the general union, yeah, you join as just a voting member, even if you're kind of in the background and kind of watching how things take shape. Um, if you want, like, the more involvement and making, like, being part of committees and taking up more work is like if you join board and executive board. But even if you want to be a silent member, and let's say you're joining and you want to say come down for a tifo painting or tracing, like, we want everyone to be involved, and just give us the time that you can give us. We need the volunteers, and we'll take a few hours out of your day if you can give it to us.
Yeah, definitely. And also too, just kind of echo what Vanessa's talking about, right? You get to be to Tifo things too, but like you get to have the opportunity to be maybe first in line to purchase some away games to, like, the big games like in LA or something like that. Get a bus ticket with that, and there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of benefits to be able to join the union, even if you just want to be a silent member. Just being able to be in that know, that's kind of the main that's kind of our main bread and butter that we're kind of offering for people.
Well, I mean, that's a good kind of launching pad too. Another one of the questions here that kind of piqued my interest is at the Portland game. I noticed that a Timbers fan were able to. By the way, these are from the union members themselves, right?
Questionnaire, yes.
Perfect. Yeah. And so they were saying that they noticed that the Timbers fans were able to line up 2 to 3 hours before every game to greet players and get autographs. I've been told that they also have an annual fan fest for season ticket members where they can meet players, get to tour the facilities, and hang out on the pitch. As a San Diego FC supporter, will we have more opportunities like this in 2026?
So I'll take. That's definitely a club question. They did do something earlier in the season for season ticket members where they had, like, the players down on the pitch, and we went around and you got to take photos and autographs. But it's definitely a question that we're taking back to the club and kind of seeing where their heads at with these types of events for season ticket members, these types of events for union members, and hopefully planning out and getting everything on a calendar for the next season, so that we can start getting that out there and making sure people are aware of specific dates for these things that are happening.
And again, a good segue there is, well, you've mentioned, like, hey, we need to get the word out. What are we utilizing? There's no ideal world, but instead of saying, hey, let's figure out a way to communicate out, what's the best way to communicate in as well? Is there a preferred method? I do believe that's the question, here, just kind of what's going to happen in terms of these things that they kind of found out through the Chant app, which, by the way, personal experience through Chant app, it's not the best. I think it's cool for certain things, but
Yeah.
it's weird. It's a weird app. Like, I just went on it just for curiosity and I got a headache. And yeah.
We're highly aware that it's got glitches, and for right now it's doing what we needed to do. And we are exploring other avenues. But the biggest thing is probably our Instagram. It's ran by, Steve Cabrera, who takes a lot of pride in making those amazing videos that he does. And we're very excited when he puts a new one out. But we really put everything out there through Instagram and getting as many emails as we can now. But we also don't want to make people feel like they're just getting a whole bunch of just junk mail. So we're very cautious when we send emails. We wanted to make sure that it's informative. But yeah, like the everyday kind of stuff, Instagram and Chant for internal.
Yeah. And if somebody wants to submit a question, I mean, same thing, Chant, Instagram. Espin has been doing an amazing job trying to help us out with the administrative portion of Chant. He answers questions. He brings it up to us. Steve does the same thing too. Like, whatever questions that come up from a member, if they can't answer it, they bring it up to people. And that's kind of what we're that's our main, that's kind of what we've been using the last year, is those two main avenues or you can come up to us and talk to us directly. I mean, I never turn anybody down when it comes to any to any questions about the union. I don't think Vanessa has either. All of us, we're all very available. And if you look at our website too for Frontera, we have all the board members listed in there. They'll have pictures so you can see what they look like. If you see them out, ask them a question, see where it's at, and then they'll either relay the questions back to us or answer it to the best of their ability.
I mean, like
Hey.
Tony said, catch me at the games. I'm up and down all the stairs. Stop me, ask me questions. I'm always happy to chat. So yeah, we're around. We're very open to having people come up to us to be involved, asking about opportunities. So yeah.
Hey, I will say, just throw it out there. There's an app called Band App that I use for communications at work, and it's actually free, family friendly. I recommend it. If it's something that you want to look into, just throwing it out there.
Band.
Yeah, Band, like BAND, and the communication is perfectly, and you can control who can make posts, who can post anything, who's a co-admin, all that stuff. It's super fun to use, and it's easy. Again, family friendly. It's cool.
Brought to you in part by Band App.
We'll check it
No,
out.
but even then, like, and I love that, Chiva. But I'll be the other side of it too. Like, there's a lot of people that don't have any Facebook, like, and want to be part of it. A lot of people do have it, obviously nowadays. But I see the pockets of fandom for San Diego FC. The San Diego FC Facebook group, for instance, is a pretty large group. And sometimes I think to myself, where are these thousands of people that are not watching Two Balls in a Mic? But it's a challenge for sure to get smoke signals out there. El tia that they want to get there. I remember there was one of the walkthroughs in the stadium, one of the first ones that I had my credential, and then I had an extra ticket, and then I see this deal who's clearly taking like a younger nephew, and he's just like, oh, but you promised me, but I just hear like, take mine, like, just like technology should not be a barrier for this, but unfortunately it is nowadays. So hopefully that's something that does get worked on and worked through. Again, here at the State of the Union for San Diego, Frontera Frontera SD. We finally happy with that name, guys? I was looking forward to Raza. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is, again, beginning workshop. It's still part of year one, but like that was a challenge on its own, just to get everybody on the same page for a name. Like, to let alone like, hey, what are we gonna invest this money in? What are we gonna go ahead and paint on a thing? And then everybody has an opinion on what the name should be or not be, but then nobody shows up when it matters. Like how difficult is that to navigate and to get through that?
So I'll take this one, but that's if you can remind. So I think the Frontera SD name actually caught on really well. Shout out to George, who from Barra 18. He's a branding guy. He's the guy who the brainchild of the entire branding guide that is for Frontera San Diego right now, right? From the crest to the links, and everything is just it's been amazing. I think that on its own really helped us facilitate the way people perceive the name, right? He came up with the whole guide, the power of unity and all that stuff. And it was just once people saw that, and once people saw an image of what Frontera San Diego actually is, it really made it stand out. Because the name is just a name, right? But when it has like a really kick-ass branding behind it, I think people just rally behind it 100%.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, looking at more questions, right? And this is, I think, a good one to address. And I like that I'm asking this, that it's kind of like as an outsider. I think I definitely, from things that happened before the season started, I took a step back at seeing how much I interacted with like the supporters group or anything like that. Miguel, you know us. We used to do Chavos with lawyers, Chavos the lawyer, like Chelas con Chavos. And Tony and I were very much involved with all the supporters. And I personally took a step back based on some conversations I had with people from the club. But, seeing on Instagram some supporter groups putting different messages out there, I go to Tony and say, hey, what's going on with everything? And this question says, what steps will the union make to encourage a more united Frontera San Diego, instead of a, quote, this supporter group does more than that supporter group, end of quote, or they are unaffiliated, so they aren't as passionate as someone from, say, another supporter group environment that you all have now?
Yeah, so I think the big thing for that one is making sure that So as much as I love the fact that our supporter groups are so involved and they're so passionate about everything, we have to make sure we change that perception that other people that are there are not as passionate as them, right? Maybe they haven't been able to find their own niche. Maybe they have their own group. Maybe they find like a little pocket in that section where like, hey, every single game that I come here, I know this guy, I know that guy, I know this person. Like we're not members of groups, but we kind of built our own little relationship. And I think that's one of the big challenges that we've had over the last year, and that's one of the big challenges we're going to continue to have. I think is just to make sure that not only the board, but that the supporter groups that make up the union find a way to kind of bring in other people that are interested in the culture. And not to say that they're not doing a great job, not to say that they're not wanting to, but I think those standards for people that are not within their own groups have to kind of go down a little bit and just kind of have a better understanding of why some people don't want to join a supporter group, right? Maybe they don't have the time, but they do want to be able to go to the game. They do want to chant, but they don't have the hours in the week to be able to go to the meetings, to go to the bars, to go to the to the volunteer events that they have. But if they do, they'll make an effort. But I think that's kind of one of the things that we have to work on, is making sure that those perceptions are well managed, especially for the people that are not in SGs.
I'm going to add, and I think as leadership of the board, it's on us to make sure that we're in communication with the leaders of the SGs, making sure that we're addressing the issues they might have or how they perceive things, and working together to become that inclusive environment where even unaffiliated, I mean, they can chant just as loud, but you want to bring them into the culture that we're building within all these groups to make it into one. So it's more of again, spreading the enthusiasm, making sure everybody's getting involved. We've seen the chants grow. We've seen, from just the certain groups, knowing them to we're going across the stadium now. So just, again, communicating and just growing from there.
Well, we're getting into the SDFC MLS tough conversations part of the thing too. Our buddy Dimitri over, who's done great work for SDFC Nation, great articles week in, week out. Check them out. Look, this is kind of a reality of year one as well. What were some of the things that were done internally to ensure that fan safety is a priority after the LAFC/Galaxy fights at Snapdragon? Many people felt unsafe during the fights, then taking their kids and families. And to add that too, like it's something that does pop up here and there. Even this weekend, I saw a brand new one just outside of that section, and just kind of what were those steps and what's being done internally for this independent union to make sure that these things don't happen.
Yeah, so some of the steps that we took for that one was, the first thing we worked with the club, kind of like what their security saw, what they saw, what their interpretation was, and not gonna lie, we got a bad rap on that online. Just the way everything was perceived, just the way everything showed up, and it's actions that kind of that represented everybody, and it really wasn't the case, right? But I think for the most part, we being able to work with the club on that and trying to be able to see, hey, what actions can we take internally on our end, because we don't know, like we've never dealt with anything like that before. And I know a lot of people in the club, they get hired on, they have experience with dealing with like fights or big events and stuff like that, right? So we took a lot of advice from the club when it came to that. And for measures for our own, another thing that we did was just really more just get the leaders together, right, from each supporter group to see, like, hey, what happened, where can we improve, and on top of that, maybe just more importantly, is that this cannot happen again. It's not, it wasn't a very enjoyable time, especially because there were so many kids there that kind of saw that, and it was not fun. And I think we moved on pretty well from that. Ever since that point, we've had more interactions with the leaders. We've had, I think, less issues. We've been able to to kind of empower the supporter groups to kind of take care of their own people, rather than us telling them what to do, or rather than the club or security telling them what to do. We've empowered the supporter groups to be able to manage and take care of their own people, so that stuff like this doesn't happen again. I think that was probably one of the best things that we could have done, just to ensure, like, hey, this isn't just for the safety of your group, it's for the safety of everybody in the section, and we need to have people from each SG keep an eye out on their members, make sure they're not, drinking too much, make sure that if any kind of issues are coming up within the supporter section, that they're taken care of immediately without having to involve security, without having to involve the police. And I think that's kind of, it's always going to be one of those things we're always going to struggle with. I mean, like I said, you guys seen Vanessa run up and down everywhere. And it's just, it's unfortunate. It's going to be one of those things that just happens, every year. It's going to happen pretty much almost every game, when you get people drinking, you have emotions running high and stuff like that. Things just kind of happen. But as long as we have the support from our supporter groups and also members within the union that want to help us out with that, I think that's probably one of the key things for us going forward.
And I've just, and just immediately after that specific situation happened, we definitely sat down with leadership, and we had tough conversations on, this is not the image we're going for. This is not what we signed up for. We signed up to support a team. We signed up to bring our passion into it, and mistakes happened, and our biggest thing is, one, yes, safety of people in the stands. People bring their families, I bring mine, and that's always going to be a priority. At the end of the day, though, adults are adults. They're individuals. They make their own decisions. And sometimes we have to, as a union, be, unfortunately, reactive to a situation. So I think that going forward, we have to keep in mind that there are going to be times where we're reactive, no matter how many preventative measures or conversations that we have.
Yeah, and like you mentioned it, right? Like safety will always be the main priority for everybody. There's a lot of people that go with families, and you have to take those precautions when maybe a conference final happens against LAFC. We all know that San Diego LA rivalry, and that's something to look into if that's maybe the Western Conference final that can take place in a few weeks. What were some of those steps with working with the club in trying to bring people back into the supporter group, into the section, so you can have those people back and just be able to support the team, especially in the playoffs as well?
I think it kind of worked. It worked out on its own, honestly. Not that we definitely try to encourage people to be like, hey, if you see something, say something, right? Like don't just let things kind of happen in the stadium that they're like, oh my God, look at that guy, and then come back and tell us 2 days later, oh, I saw this one dude do it. It's like, well, who was the dude? Like, I don't know, just some guy. It's like, okay. So, but we definitely want to encourage people, if you see something happening in the stadium that shouldn't be happening, bring it up to security, bring it up to leadership, and it's one of those things we're gonna try to work on fixing. But I think just the way the club was performing, I think that on its own just actually made people want to come back. And it was definitely a challenge for us to kind of be like, hey, we're making changes. Here are the changes, and just kind of showing them. That's pretty much the best thing we could have done, is just making sure that those changes that we made and that we were pursuing were visible, not just to union leadership, but to everybody in the stands.
Yeah. And I mean, and at the end of the day, again, mistakes happen. Consequences of those mistakes happen after the fact. And we just want to make sure that, people coming back into the stadium after those actions, one, take responsibility for their actions and show us, the people that are within the immediate of Frontera, like, that they acknowledge that and that they're here to be a better person.
And a lot of that has to do too with now, the people that I saw in that last video, it didn't seem like they've been there every game for Frontera San Diego. They're just kind of those casuals coming in, and they kind of this question, is this a bandwagon success? Obviously, casual fans, not union members, are flooding into the section. It's a nice problem, but still logistical challenges happen. What do other clubs do for this problem? Security takes little to screen folks. perhaps just another section can be overflow, or maybe just just something different. Is there a solution for this, or is this just something that it just happens everywhere else in the league as well?
Yeah. I will say that we've been in constant communication with the club since the game yesterday regarding this. And it was actually brought up to us a couple weeks ago as well. So the thing that's different from I think that from my experience going to other MLS stadiums besides our own is that a lot of the specific stadiums are created for the specific soccer team, right? Like LAFC, Galaxy, Austin. I went to Nashville game last week. A lot of those entrances, they're sectioned off, they're bordered off for specific supporters only, right? And just to kind of get into the supporter section, it's very hard to be able to see everybody's ticket. They could just easily take a screenshot or whatever, and then show it to the security, and those are just issues that we have to kind of work on. And the club is actually actively working on making sure that that we have a plan for that going forward, just to make sure we prevent overcrowding, making sure we prevent the people that are like super drunk. They're like, oh, let's just go to that section over there. They look like they have more fun. It's just we saw that a lot with the Loyal, right? And it's just and I think it's just going to take a lot of time. But from what I know from other sections, from other clubs, is that they have their own private entrance and they have their own private like snack stand and everything, and they rarely have to travel out of their supporter group section. We don't have that because it was built for a student section. I think the way San Diego State football does it is that each student gets a wristband to go into the student section, because that's essentially what that is. It's the student section. But we don't have that kind of we don't have that yet, and I think it's something we're going to be working for, towards, hopefully as soon as the next home game, but if not, maybe for next season.
They have the wristbands, but no students, Miguel. Like they have them, but no.
They have them, yeah, they're there. Yeah. We're the most action that team's seen in a while.
Yeah, there's a lot of logistics behind all of that, so it's definitely going to take a lot more coordination between Snapdragon Security, the team, and Frontera to really hone in on that.
What's up with these hidden agents sometimes that I hear that are is this true that there's sometimes just hidden security within you guys? Like, is that asked for security for you guys, or that's
not within us? We don't request it.
Okay.
I don't know if it does happen. I haven't seen one. But I can tell you right now, like it's very difficult to work when it comes to that section specifically, because we're working with 3 different entities. We're working with ourselves, with the club, with Snapdragon, and with whatever security is contracted for Snapdragon. So we have 4. So that's 4 different entities that we have to work with in order to make sure that something happens, in that section. And the MLS might have some secret agents. I don't know. I haven't seen them, but it's a rumor that I'm starting to believe most sometimes.
They have said occasionally, there might be. There's people of MLS that attend certain games, so we've seen a few, and they're just watching, especially when they're those high stakes games. And it's not us asking or requesting; it's just MLS taking the precautions.
Yeah.
Trust me, they're out there. We got taken down earlier through MLS on the same live stream, so they're out there. I'm looking at some of these questions, and I want to help Sylvia out here. She said they tried to get their Frontera shirts they ordered back in July, and they have not been able to get them at pickup times. Will they be shipped to them, or will there be other pickup times?
Great question, actually. So my garage actually became our shipping front for the moment. So we are currently packaging everything. We do apologize for the delay. There was a delay in getting things in, and then with the games, we are putting it together because of how early we have to shut down the tailgate, and how early myself, Steve, and Dina have to be inside helping with setup. We haven't really been able to do like the pickups at the games, but yes, we are working on shipping, and going forward, once we get a Frontera store up and running, we're looking into a more expedited process when it comes to getting people's merchandise out. So we do apologize for the delay. We had a few hiccups, but we're getting it nailed down.
Yeah, that's actually a perfect example. I'm sorry, the volunteers. We need volunteers. We just need people. We need hands. The more, the better, and that's going to help us out. Just make sure we put out a better product for all our folks.
No, go over it, Jiva.
Sorry, I just want to say there's a lot of questions on here that I'm noticing about the TIFOs and if there's any in the works for playoffs, like how can people help out? Like, let everyone know in the supporters, like how they can help out for that. And, some people asking for maybe simpler ones or what is the process for all that?
Yeah, I mean, we have a TIFO committee. And if you're part of a recognized supporter group, reach out to your leadership, and then they can go into the TIFO committee, making sure that your ideas are put out there. The committee itself is formed of the different groups. We keep it small so that we can streamline the decision-making portion, but we definitely want to make sure that is still brought out to general members. So leaders are informed. The TIFO process itself, we've been utilizing social media to put out paint days and tracing days. And we've actually had a lot of people come out. I think at the last one, each day we had at least, I want to say 35 to up to 60 people just kind of rotating in and out throughout the hours. And some people made a whole day out of it. Bring your kids, bring your family. We'll usually bring a space. There's a soccer ball to kick around. Like we understand that sometimes with the kids, you really can't put in time. So if you can bring your kids, we had a lot of the kids paint, so we give them a bigger space. So even the kids were part of the TIFO process. We want the community to get involved.
Yeah, and just to add on to that real quick, I want to say thank you to Steve Cabrera and Emo Brown for letting us use their warehouses for these TIFO paintings. That's been very helpful for just for them opening up the doors and just letting us work after hours. We know those places are places of business, and thank you for their time.
Okay, Philippe has been asking about this. He's really he's really wants to know how much does the fireproofing cost per TIFO?
Ooh, there's no exact number. It can range anywhere from like $1,500 to like $2,000 per panel.
Is that a state of California like law, or is it just like a city of San Diego law?
So we've been told there are other groups that don't have to fireproof, but because we are on state land, the fire marshal requires us to fireproof ours.
Interesting. If there was a stadium in Chula Vista, I know Chula Vista has different laws when it comes to fireproofing, and I only know this because of my work and tents we use for my setups for my programming. And just saying it out there, if a stadium built in Chula Vista, you don't have to worry about that. So
that'd be swell. I mean, there's a lot of things you wouldn't have to worry about with the stadium that's not a Snapdragon stadium.
That's true.
Is there an idea when the club expects to open up supporter group tickets for the next game? Considering the fire marshal is getting just. I mean, we have our buddy Trevor. We should have had him on too.
No, so for the games, actually, they sent out an email this morning to open it up to for the tickets for the supporter section for the next match. Right now we're still kind of working on some of the details, and because of all the issues they had with the with the overcrowding, I think some of the tickets were kind of held back just until they calculated, okay, what's the risk here for us if we open it up to more more tickets or whatever. But it's strictly safety. It's got nothing to do with like with them trying to build any kind of any kind of like hype for it or anything. It's strictly all safety right now. And we've been bringing it up to the club, and the club is aware that people are very excited to get tickets. So it's something we're actively working on right now.
Get a little shout out here. Hey, get all the praise you want. Thank you for all the effort and making everything happen for sure. Because it literally takes a village. In that, I have a personal question here. Sorry, yikes. In our press conferences, you know, we were asking, hey, Mikey, you know, your team, blah, 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 and blah, 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 and honors, and yeah, great. But then at the end, like, there's like some club official that just kind of sneaks into the back and just raises his hand and is like, oh, hey, question, like, how was Frontera? Like, and then clearly there's like video packages that go directly to Frontera at San Diego. Do you guys receive those? Is it like an email, like everybody huddles around an iPad and just sees what Mikey Vadas praises Frontera for? Like, just like, where do those go to?
I think Jerry actually does share those, right, Vanessa?
Yeah, so we do get a link with some of the photos. They want to make sure that we're getting the ability to showcase ourselves on our social media. And it's funny that, I mean, we didn't know that somebody goes back there and asks about Frontera, but like Mikey has been a number one supporter since the beginning. He sat with us when we were creating the union, giving us his vision for not only the players that he was bringing in, but what he wanted Frontera to really embody. And he takes that to heart because he does consider us, part of the team. So we every day we want to make sure in every game that, we're making sure Mikey and the team see us because, again, from the very beginning, we've been included.
Yeah. And I know from that question that we had previously about the LA Galaxy game, he definitely, came in and, talked to all the leaders and provided leadership. And, I don't know. I've never heard of a coach that goes above and beyond that way. Right. So it's been awesome to have him run.
Mikey Varas, man, he is something special. I'll tell you that. And
just don't ask me about you.
Apparently not, man. Apparently not. But the questions have to be asked. And I mean, just kind of following up on what Tony was saying with, the question about Frontera, like, I'm curious on your thoughts just as leadership. It seems like the answer is, it's always very positive with Mikey talking about Frontera, of saying like, they're always there. Like there are 12 men. There's like always loud. Is there anything that you would like to hear from Mikey other than like that positivity? Like, or is there anything like in general that you would like to hear from Mikey other than, hey, like they're the best, like this and that? I'm just curious.
They need to step it up.
I'm gonna say that those conversations happen when something, happens in the stadium that maybe, shouldn't have happened. But those are private conversations, and he has really big heart-to-hearts with us. But he wants to make sure that he's praising us out in the public because of the hard work. But not to say that he doesn't come in and tell us like, hey, this is not what we signed up for. This is not what we want for this. We want to be better. So yeah, but the tough conversations happen.
Yeah, they're not easy. They're not fun. Like it's not every day where you're sitting there saying, oh yeah, I'm having a discussion with a guy that makes a ton of money, and I'm just like, hey, I'm here, So, but it's those are tough conversations to have a lot of times. But thankfully, it's like I think we have great communication, like like we talked about earlier. And we just kind of built that trust now. So.
A question that I saw here is the consistency in seating charts, something that I noticed yesterday. It just seems so long ago. But the tailgate kind of came down with the fog rolling in a little earlier, just because I think people were trying to get priority seating down there. Some sources kind of came down and said like, hey, there wasn't necessarily that organization. Can there be more consistency in that seating? What's that looking like? Or just what are the measures being taken to, because I know a lot of people were showing up to the tailgate expecting the tailgate, but everybody had closed down and starting to pick up a little earlier than they tend to. Maybe a little, a couple of minutes, but still, like they wanted to go get in line to go in the stadium to get their section.
Yeah, I mean, we realize that these games are heavily attended games, and yeah, I mean the SGs wanted to make sure that they had enough space for their people, for each SG, each group to come in and have space. I mean, look at what happened with everybody all on the steps, and they were really trying to avoid, especially like people that come in with their families for their groups, having to be stuck on the stairs. but that's just what they want to do. They want to bring down the tailgate to give them some more time to get in, especially because the time changed from how early we're actually going in. So we had to adjust with that.
Yeah, and I think once we get those answers from the club on how they expect to handle people going to the section, right? I think that's going to make it a lot easier for us to be able to kind of actually gauge how many people are going to be in the section at a certain time. And it's going to make it easier for us to, to create more consistency when it comes to those maps.
I love that. And look, I think that's kind of another question too, and just kind of wrap things up. And if there's anything else that we need to address for the State of the Union here for Frontera San Diego, thank you for both of your times here tonight. But we've talked about, hey, we need to see our own do this. You need hands for sure. That's for sure. You need people to get involved and do the dirty work. Go do a TIFO, spread the word out, recruit, like all these things. You mentioned what is 3,000 supporters officially, correct? Around
3,400.
3,400. Cool.
Yeah.
Out of that, give me a rough percentage of how many people get involved, like legitimately involved to make this happen. And this is a reality check, perhaps, but just like I'm curious, what does that look like?
I mean, day-to-day logistics, maybe about 3 people.
Or 4. Yeah.
And when it comes to bigger things that we put together, and I said like a TIFO, we had upwards of to 60 people out of the 3,400. That's the numbers we're looking at.
Yeah. Miguel, I mean.
Oh, and that's pretty accurate. And then also with the champ practices, you have SGs that some of them, a lot of them show up, and then we also have a lot of behind the scenes stuff too of like, people that help out with answering questions on chat or email or IG, So yeah, I would say day to day, 4 people within the week, maybe you have like about 10 people working total.
Yeah.
Out of 3,400.
Yeah. Out of 3,400. That's That's a big jump. So get involved. That's the thing. Like that's the message here. And I see the work that you guys are doing even tonight. 9. I know Miguel, you're out defending the nation, probably like just being a superhero altogether. But this is still time that you guys are taking for all of this. But yeah, Chiba.
Yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, right? I want to hear kind of like a statement or something from Frontera San Diego that kind of like San Diego FC would put when they would get an overwhelming amount of requests. I want to see that from Frontera. Overwhelming amount of requests to support and help out. Like that would be nice to see.
What is the thing here to close it out? Here for a final question. What is the thing that you need to see from the club more of from the club, or just what do you need to see from them? And it's not something that they're already doing, something that they haven't necessarily done and more of.
Yeah, I think man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I mean, because they've been because Jerry and Adam have been pretty helpful when a lot. So they hear us out a lot. I mean, there's no stupid question. Sometimes it is a pretty stupid question. You have to shut my mouth and delete my message or something. But no, for the most part, they've been super open about everything. And if I had maybe one thing to bring up to the club, it's just maybe more like I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think it's been pretty good so far.
Yeah.
I wish I had something to say, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna echo it. Like Jerry and Adam, if we have a situation and we take it to them, they'll turn around, take it back to the higher percent club. The only thing is just keep working on the communication, because there are some things still fall through the cracks. But other than that, like I think we're building a strong partnership with them. I did receive an update though. We are not at 3,400 members. We are at 4,100 members in Frontera. So that is where we are with that.
That's pretty cool.
There you go. So maybe the people that contribute has now gone up to 80. I'm kidding. We'll make it more.
Wow,
Make it more.
700 new people joining just from listening to this. That's pretty cool. No.
But I mean, again, repeating with the help. I mean, we'll take an hour out of your day, anything that you're able to give us, because we understand life gets busy.
No, 100%. 100%. Well, is there anything else from you both that you want to address for the State of the Union?
Yeah. I just want to say that I'm very, very proud and actually very, very surprised of the way we've been handling everything over the last year. Just the way everything's just kind of like just exploded from zero to this. I think it's been pretty awesome to see. And there's a lot more work coming out. And I know we're not perfect. This is our first year, and the best thing we could do is promise that we'll try to get better. And that's going to come with time. I think a lot of organizations that are our size have had a little more time to work on things, but we're learning from our mistakes. And it's one of those things we want to make sure that everybody's aware that we're working towards everybody in the union, not just certain people.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Miguel, Vanessa, thank you so much for spending this hour and a half with us for the State of the Union. And again, our doors are always welcomed when you all need to make any sort of announcement or have a platform to just kind of like talk to everyone. But again, thank you all for joining. This has been SanDiego.Futbol 2 on the mic, Sarape de San Diego.
Thank you.